Hi there. Are you an entrepreneur who is always juggling something in your business, who's putting out fires? You're probably working well past 8 p.m. You're probably getting up early in the morning and maybe even working on weekends. If that is you, if you're somebody who's missing family events, maybe your kids have a game and you're running late and you constantly have to put things off, and you're always tied to this, you're tied to your phone and not focused on being present where you are in your family life. If that describes you in your entrepreneurship journey, you might be wondering, is it time I finally hire help? But I don't even know where to start. That's probably your next thought. So if that's you, if that's something you can relate with, stay here. We're going to go through the steps on when to know how to hire, when to know that it's time in my business to hire some help and finally get out from being the solopreneur into having a team. So that's what we're going to cover today. I'm Joe Silva. I'm your host. And thank you for being here. I appreciate that. If this interests you, if this is something that you need in your business, and the fact that you're watching this still after my intro means that you're looking for help in your business, then you're in the right place, because we're going to go through step by step on how you can know and understand exactly when the right time is for you to hire. If you're like most businesses, most entrepreneurs, most business owners, you're thinking, boy, I'm doing all the stuff. I'm running every direction possible. I'm sales, I'm marketing, I'm accounting, I'm operations, I'm everything, right? I'm fulfillment. You're doing everything in your business. When is it finally going to be time to hire somebody in my business? When am I going to be able to afford it? When am I going to be able to train them? When am I going to know that I can actually sustain a team? You might be thinking things like, well, I don't want to bring somebody on and then it just blows everything up and I can't even survive, right? I don't have any money left over for me. If that's ever gone through your head, we're going to cover all of that. So stick here. You're going to want to keep listening, and we'll answer your questions. That's why we're here. And this is all part of the methods that I teach at joesilvatraining.com. So if this interests you, you'll find more there. You can go to the website and check that out. But knowing when it's the right time to hire in your business is such a key thing, and it's such a common question. So number one, you're not alone. Most entrepreneurs, most business owners go through this. And if you're grinding it out, well, we'll get there in a minute. You're probably grinding out if you're an entrepreneur. You're doing all this stuff yourself, but we'll get there. But what happens, and why this is so important, is because most people wait too long to hire. You've probably seen this with some of your colleagues or some of your friends, or maybe even family members that had businesses. They wait too long and they continue to do all the things themselves. And that just compounds and builds and builds. And eventually you run out of energy, run out of capacity. You hit a plateau. It's just simple math there, right? You can only do so much as one person. And now you're thinking, well, hey, I'm a superhero, right? I can do 100 things better than the next person. Well, that's great, because guess what? There's 101 things that need to be done in your business tomorrow. Then there's 102. Then there's 103. As you grow, you've probably already seen this. As a driven entrepreneur who's growing their business, you've probably already seen this, that as you grow, as you add more customers and clients and help and serve more people, which is the reason you're in business to begin with, right? As you do that, as you grow your business, more things have to happen in your business to make it go. And again, you are limited. It's think of it this way as, if you're driving across the country, if you're going from, let's say, Los Angeles to New York in a vehicle, you're going to have to stop and refuel at some point. It's the same with you as a business owner. You cannot get there all on your own. You need some help to go from this point, this plateau, whatever that ceiling may be for you, to get to the next level. And you probably want to get to the next level if you're watching this. So what happens is when a business owner tries to do everything themselves for so long, they hit burnout, and you actually can set yourself back. It actually can cost you, because as you start to be depleted of energy daily, as you continue to do more and more, you'll start to notice that you get more tired, right? You're not well rested. Your decision-making may or may not be there as sharp as it was once before. And you may have experienced this yourself. But the simple fact is, and you're probably starting to know this at this point, is that the longer you wait to build your team, the more money you will lose. I'm going to repeat that and slow down a little bit, because it's important. If you take anything away from this particular episode, take this, is that the longer you wait to build your team, the more money and income you will lose. Most people think it's the opposite. Most people think, well, I'm saving money by not hiring somebody. But as you'll find out, it's not necessarily the case. So keep watching, and we'll get into all of that. And you may be doing some of those things that we described earlier in this video, and that's okay. Again, that's the majority of businesses out there. The majority of businesses don't have employees. In fact, there's a study recently that I saw. I said 81% of businesses out there have zero employees. 81% have zero employees. That's a staggering number. I was surprised. I'm in the industry, and I was surprised at that. You may be as well. But the vast majority of businesses, 8 out of 10, have zero employees. We also know the other stat, the famous stat from the SBA, that 1/3, 30% or more, actually, it's a little higher than 30, of businesses fail within the first 2 years. 24 months gone. History, no longer in existence within 2 years, 24 months. That goes like that in business, especially when you're doing all the stuff, right? Days go by fast in that scenario. And so the majority of businesses don't have employees, and the majority of businesses struggle. And in that first 5 years, the majority are actually gone in that first 5 years even. So you can see the correlation there and how that can impact what you do day in and day out. Now, as for the main question that we're covering today as to when is the right time to hire, that's the magic question. That's why you're here. That's why you're listening. And we're going to get to that. I'm going to actually give you 2 ways to think about this. Okay, I'm going to give you the high level version. That is the right side of your brain, the creative side that makes complete sense, but is more on the right side of the brain. And then I'm going to break down step by step the logic side. So I know a lot of you will be saying, hey, I don't want that fluffy in the cloud stuff. I want the hard facts. I want the numbers. Give that to me so I know exactly when to hire. For the logic side, the left side of the brain, that logic. And guess what? You're going to get that as well. So bonus information here. I'm going to give you 4 steps on the logic side, and we're going to cover a little bit on the right side, kind of the high level stuff here that I want to go over. Because here's the thing: when you set yourself back that far for years, when you cost yourself money by not hiring, you can't recover that, right? You know that if you're not hiring somebody now, that later on, that's opportunity cost. You could have been doing other things with your time at that point. So here's another stat to chew on. Is let me pull it up here. I'm going to pull it up on my screen as I watch this and record this. But here's the revenue stats. So if that out of business stat earlier didn't shake you to the core, here's something that will likely get your attention. So you might want to write this one down so that it's in front of you. But there was a recent study done in that employers with 0 employees, and that's the majority of businesses out there, the average annual revenue for those employers, for those businesses in the US was just under $47,000 a year. $47,000 was the average annual revenue for a business with 0 employees. Okay. Now, I don't know about you, but $47,000, that's okay. I'm guessing if you're watching this, you probably have larger goals, right? We always hear about the 6-figure income or the multi-6-figure or the 7-figure income that businesses and entrepreneurs want. And you being a driven, goal-setting entrepreneur, I'm guessing that you have a higher goal than $47,000 a year. Now, it doesn't stop there, all right? Because what that study also found is that businesses with just 1 to 4 employees, so 1, 2, or 3, or 4 employees, get ready for this. Those businesses created and attracted 8 times the revenue as a business with 0. $387,000 in revenue annually was the average for a business with 1 to 4 employees. Clearly, it's obvious to see when you build your team, you build your business. The more you build your team, the more you build your business. Because when we continue with this stat, a company with 10 to 19 employees, so still that mid-range, 46 times revenue, the business with 0, over $2 million in revenue on average with a business that size. Okay, so it's clear. The average business with 0 employees, 47,000. By adding just 1 to 4 employees, you 8x the revenue to get there. Now, you might be thinking, well, I don't know when to do this. You know, is that really the right move for me? Completely understand. I've been there myself. So I don't just practice this stuff. I don't read it in one of these books that are behind me and then regurgitate that same information over to you. I live this daily. I have my own business. I have my own team. And I have learned these lessons the hard way. So I'm not throwing stones that you're doing it wrong if you haven't done this yet, because I get it. I completely understand. But the big picture is, when you look at it, do you want to remain in that small category of 0 employees and be at it solo and keep doing everything for yourself? Or do you want to grow your business and continue on to keep going? All right. So let's get into some of the step-by-step. I know that's what you're waiting for if you're still here. And we'll get into step-by-step as to how to know when it's the right time to hire. All right. Realistically, that high-level stuff, I do want to cover this. I didn't mention this point. I was going to kind of leave it out, but I'm going to say this anyway, because I do feel this is important. Is that if you feel in your heart that you should hire, if you feel that, yes, I could use some help right now, and maybe your head is saying, well, let's wait it out a little bit. Let's wait till we get to X revenue, or let's wait till we get a little more stabilized on our income or something like that. We'll just keep grinding it out. If that's the struggle that you're having internally, it's probably time to hire. And deep down in your heart, you likely know that already. All right. Because what tends to happen, and I've seen this, frankly, I did this myself, is we say things like, when I get to X revenue, or I'll look at this in 6 months, or whatever it would be. But that 6 months never comes. Okay. And that 6 months turns into 6 years. And you keep digging a bigger hole, bigger and bigger and bigger, where more work keeps piling on top of yourself. And by the time you are ready to hire at that point, or decide that you're ready, you have so much going on. Now the excuse isn't, well, I don't have the income. It's, I don't have the time to continue on doing this. So from that perspective, from a high level look at things, if you feel that it's time you could use help in your business, it's probably time to get some help in your business. Now, if that suffices for you, and if you're like, that makes total sense, then use that and run with it. If you're somebody who wants the logic and the step-by-step, here we go. We're going to get into that. And step number 1 of determining when to hire is knowing roles in your business. A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners, online, offline, whoever it is, they are doing everything at one time. And in their minds, it all falls under one role. All right. Now, knowing the separation of roles is important, because you have to know who is doing what, or what should be happening in your business, in order to justify bringing on somebody with a specific skill set. And if you don't know what those roles are, you don't know where they fit in your business. So you really need to take a hard look at what you're doing every day. And I'll give you, in general, every business in the world, whether, again, you're online, offline, brick and mortar, internet business, whatever it is. Okay. You could be a dog grooming salon, or a business coach online, whatever it is. Every single business has 3 main categories, and that's sales, that's operations, and that's the finance side. Those 3. And everything else falls under that. And you may have several categories under that. But it's important to know what those roles are, what they look like within your specific business. And that way you can say, okay, this is the area that I really need help in. This is the first person I'm going to hire. And you can also determine that I'm really struggling in this, right? I'm not keeping up with my accounts payable. Credit cards are falling through the cracks, and I'm not billing my customers. Well, clearly you need to hire somebody with that type of skill set, which is very different than the sales side, which is very different than the fulfillment or operations side. So look at your roles, and it can get much more detailed than those. I'm just giving a general overview. If you want more information on this, you can go again to my website, joesilvatraining.com, and you'll find more about this. But know your roles within the business and how somebody new can fit into that role that you need to help your business. That's number 1. Where do you need the help at? Know your roles. Okay. Step number 2, here's the magic question: budget. How can I afford to hire somebody? How do I know I can afford to hire somebody? And what's involved here is understanding the cost behind hiring, and changing your mindset from a cost to this is an investment. When we look at things, especially right now in the current environment, when this is being filmed, interest rates have skyrocketed. Inflation rates have skyrocketed. Interest rates have not. Inflation rates have gone up significantly lately. Okay. And so let's say it's the same theory as looking at something as I'm going to keep this money in a bank account and have inflation eat away at it, or I'm going to invest this in something that's going to appreciate in value later. All right. So bringing on employees is an investment. So that's a mindset shift as well that you'll likely want to do in order to get past this budget question. But the other side of the budget is understanding what's involved in the total costs. Okay. If you're hiring a contractor or a VA or somebody like that, obviously you have a budget there with what you're going to pay them. Will it be by the hour? Will it be by the project? Will it be a monthly flat amount? Whatever that may be. And depending on where you're hiring them from, some of those rules may be your decision, others maybe not. If they're overseas, they have different rules over there than in the US. Okay. So are you going to hire a contractor, or are you going to bring on somebody as part of your in-house team as a W-2 employee? From there, you need to budget out costs such as payroll tax and workers' comp insurance and things of that nature. But understanding those pieces is critical so that you can develop your budget and understand this is what it's actually going to cost me in order to hire somebody. Once again, go to my website, joesilvatraining.com. We've got a free bonus there for you to figure this out. It goes through step by step. I'm not going to do it on this video, but there's a free bonus there that will go step by step in figuring out and calculating your costs of hiring either an employee or your contractor. So check that out. But budget is number 2. All right. Number 3 is understanding what you're worth. That's right. Not just what you're paying out in that investment to the employees, but understanding what is your time worth? What is your role in the business? So we're going back to number 1. Where are you spending your time? Where should you be spending your time? Where should you not be spending your time? And exactly how much is your time worth? Right? Where do you want to be? If you're like most businesses that we mentioned earlier with 0 employees and your revenue is around $47,000 a year, what is your goal? Where do you want to be? What should your time be worth? So if you want to make $100,000, what is that broken down by the hours that you're working? How many hours are you putting in a week divided by that $100,000? So understand that your worth is critical, because if you don't understand your worth, then how can you know that the person you're hiring is paying off well? All right. So let's just break this down a little bit in simpler terms. If you decide that I want to make $100,000 a year and I want to work 20 hours a week, you just do the math. And well, let's do the quick math right here. So $100,000 divided by 52 weeks, and I'm working 20 hours a week, that's $96 an hour. So if your time is worth $96 an hour, based on that exercise, you can now be confident to go and hire somebody for less than $96 an hour. If you hire somebody for $15, $20, $30, $40 an hour, which is a pretty good wage, you still have a huge margin in between what your time is worth versus what you're paying them out. And that's why it's critical to understand what your time is worth. Now, if you say, I want to work $40 an hour, okay, you have that number we had earlier. Now your time is worth about $47 to $50 an hour, let's say, just for rounding purposes. So if your time is worth $50 an hour, you can still hire somebody at 20 and have a margin there. So understanding your worth and where you should and should not be spending your time is step number 3. And step number 4, we just kind of did on that as well, combine 3 and 4 together, but it's calculate the difference between the two. So understand your budget and what you can pay somebody or what it's going to cost you or for that investment. Understand what your time is worth, and then figure out the difference. Right? Is it $10, $20, $30 difference? Because that will tell you what your real numbers are. When that is a positive difference, when you understand that I have this gap between I can pay somebody $20 an hour and my time is worth $70 an hour, you now understand that you can hire somebody and you can afford to do that because you're making $50 on every hour that they work. It's not costing you $20 an hour. You're earning $50 back to you because they're doing work that you would have been doing. It's easy to see at that point that it's critical that you hire somebody. The more you grow your team, the more you grow your business. Am I right? So calculate the difference and you will understand exactly what it takes to hire somebody and when it's time. And most of the time, what you'll find is that it's time when you feel that it's time because there's too much going on in your business. All right. So that's how you decide exactly when it's the right time to hire a new employee in your business. And once you're ready to hire that person, of course, there's other things to take care of where you have to have things for them to do, right? What do you do next and things like that. And again, go to my website, joesilvatraining.com. There's free bonus information there. And then you'll find all the next steps for you there as well. Also, if this spoke to you, if this was helpful to you, you'll want to subscribe. So go ahead and subscribe to this right now, and you'll get more updates as we come out with those as well. So I appreciate your time. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.